Hello, I am Reddit Reads. Welcome to my channel. Please smash that subscribe button. Thank you. It was about 5 years ago. I had just sat through a long sermon about generosity and giving to those that need help. At the end of the sermon, Pastor Bob asked for an additional donation because the church's roof needed repair and it would cost $20,000. That's right, $20,000 freedom dollars for a new roof. For this, I'm talking to my dad. Pastor Bob walks over to me. I say hi and he introduced himself. We talk a bit. Pastor Bob asked what I do for a living. I tell him I'm a computer tech with a shop. As I'm telling him I have a gelling, he already knows what I do. Pastor Bob asks me to have a look at his laptop. It's being very slow, so I agree. A clicking noise. This clues me in it's probably the hard drive, but I can still access the data. This is a good thing. It means I can probably recover the data. I tell Pastor Bob the hard drive is dying and it needs to be replaced. I also tell him I can probably recover the data. Pastor Bob asked how much it would cost to fix. I tell him for most people I would charge around $250. However, I feel I can donate my time, so I would just need $60 for a new hard drive. Pastor Bob agrees, so I write up an invoice. New hard drive $60, labor $0, data recovery $0, and 2 to 4 days for repair. Pastor Bob signed the invoice. I take the laptop to my shop. I open the laptop. HP, why do you use so many screws and clips? I get the hard drive out and connect it to my recovery rig. I set up the recovery to clone the data to a new hard drive, not the new one for the laptop. A high-end storage drive. I go home after locking up the shop. Next day, Monday, I open the shop and check the recovery rig. It's working, but it will take at least 10 more hours. So I start work on the other tickets. Then at closing time, I lock up and go home. Pastor Bob's laptop for 2 days. Next day, Tuesday, I've had Pastor Bob's laptop for 2 days. I open the shop and check my recovery rig. Good news, recovery completed, 100% data recovered. Report says hard drive developed to many bad sectors. Now I have a choice to make. I could put a 1 terabyte hard drive $60 or a 120 gigabytes SSD $60. Or I could pay some money myself for a 240 gigabytes SSD $100. Decide why not and put the 240 gigabytes SSD in the laptop. I then clone all the data over from the new recovery storage drive to the new 240 gigabytes SSD. An hour later the clone is done. So I check everything. The laptop works great and is exactly like how it was before the first hard drive died. Even the logins still worked. I call Pastor Bob and tell him his computer is done. Says that's great, he will be here soon to get it. Pastor Bob walks in. I show him his laptop working and much faster. He loves it, signs the pickup form. He then pays me with a check for $60. It's important he paid with a check. I do a bank run on Monday and Friday. So that Friday at the bank, I am informed that Pastor Bob's check is void. What? Pastor Bob had placed a stop payment on the check. So I call him. He go to church on Sunday. Pastor Bob gives a sermon about not lying. I walk up to talk to him. He avoids me. So I leave and decide I'm going to write it off. I spent $100 and some time to do something nice. Weeks later, a customer walks in looking for a new computer. So I offer he a drink and go over his options. I'm chatting him up and he tells me he is a contractor. He mostly does siding and roofing. He is thinking about offering solar. That's why he is getting a new computer. I ask how much does a new roof cost. He says up to about $10,000. So I ask him why would someone say $20,000. He had no idea. I thought it was strange. I asked about the church. Contractor said it would have been simple and around $5,000. And he could probably do it for less. Contractor buys nice new laptop. Sorry the setup took so long. The revenge starts now. Something about what the contractor said bugs me. Later I would Pastor Bob lie and say $20,000 for a new roof. Why would he stiff me for $60? I then remember I never cleared the recovery rig storage drive. I check and there it is, Pastor Bob's laptop data. I look around, it's slow and I'm all caught up on repair tickets. So I decided I'm going to clone Pastor Bob's data to a second laptop. I look around a bit. All of his logins stored in a folder on the desktop, including his online dating logins and online poker. Did I ever mention Pastor Bob is married? I start printing his online dating messages. I look back and find Pastor Bob had been adult hugging several women from his online dating. He had been paying for his dates from the church's donation fund. I am getting angry now. Then I realize he had adult hugged the women I was dating when I was dating her. It was then I decided to break Pastor Bob. I printed out all his dating messages and the women he had adult hugged for the last 6 months, except I refused to print the naughty pictures. It was an impressive packet. I then decide I need copies of the packet, so I order 100 packets printed from a major online printer. A few days later my order of revenge packets arrived. These revenge packets are amazing, double-sided, staple-bound with a cover with Pastor Bob's face on it. Now the conclusion, and I think it's worth this. Church had a calendar of what the sermon might be about. A perfect Sunday was approaching. I go to church that a few Sundays later, a bit late. Everyone is in the church, so I put a revenge packet on each card. I have a few revenge packets that are in yellow envelopes, so I put him in the mail. I sent one to all the high-ups in the church. I sent a special packet with some of Pastor Bob's naughty pics to Pastor Bob's wife. I set the return address to their church. I also emailed a bunch of people the revenge packet from a burner email. A couple weeks after I went back to that church, Pastor Bob was gone, so was the wife. Several of the women were also gone, including the one I was dating. I asked one of the important people there, happened. The answer was amazing. I was told about the revenge packet and how everyone had gotten one. Day my revenge packet appeared. sermon Pastor Bob had given was about the evils of adultery and cheating on your wife. Thank you, church calendar. The fallout. Pastor Bob was fired and shunned. Multiple women from the church have not returned, including the one I was dating. Pastor Bob's wife is divorcing him, and she is the one that owned the house and cars. No longer. Pastor Bob is now being sued by several people, including the one that fixed the room. Never paid any of them. There was also rumors of a criminal case for embezzlement. No one has seen Bob in a while now. The church might close if they can't find a new pastor, but the church's money is very low. Apparently he also spent over $30,000 on online gambling, lies, steals, and cheats on his wife with multiple women, gets found out and doxxed, gets fired, divorced, and arrested, and no one knows I did this to him. Notes: because you might ask, it's quite possible that several of the very young children and babies at the church were his, but I cannot confirm this.